The HR director was on the line, her voice carefully professional but tense. "Ma'am, we've completed the termination process for your sister, as you instructed." I stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of my corner office, looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere down there, Chloe was clearing out her desk. "No," I corrected her softly. "You terminated her for her own toxic behavior. I just provided the evidence and the platform for accountability." There was a pause on the other end. "Of course, ma'am. To understand why I had to fire my own twin sister, my identical twin, you need to understand a lifetime of being told I was the other one. The shadow to her son. The rough draft to her masterpiece. This is the story of how the quiet sister learned to roar. Chloe and I came into this world together, born 12 minutes apart. She arrived first, screaming and red-faced, announcing herself to the world. I came second, quiet and observing. That pattern never changed. From the moment we could talk, the roles were assigned. Chloe was the golden child, the extroverted, sparkling one who lit up every room. Cheerleader captain, homecoming queen, the daughter who made our mother's chest puff with pride at every school event. I was the other one. The quiet twin. The bookish one. The one our mother would introduce with a slight apologetic tone. And this is Emma. She's more introspective. That word. Introspective. It was code for not as good. I remember being 16. It was our birthday, our shared birthday, and we came downstairs to find 2 sets of car keys on the kitchen table. Chloe squealed when she saw hers. A brand new silver BMW with a giant red bow on it. Top of the line. Our mother was filming her reaction, laughing, crying happy tears. My keys were attached to a simple keychain. They belonged to a 7-year-old Honda Civic. "It's very sensible," my mother said, not even looking at me. She was too busy watching Chloe's Instagram story blow up. "And you'll share it with your sister when she needs it, of course." Of course. College was the same story. I got a full academic scholarship to a prestigious university. My GPA was perfect, my essay apparently exceptional. I was proud. For about 24 hours. That's how long it took for the conversation at every family gathering to shift from my scholarship to Chloe's sorority. Chloe made Kappa. Can you believe it? The most competitive house on campus. Emma got a scholarship, that's great too, sweetie. Very practical. Practical. Sensible. Introverted. These were my adjectives. Hers were vibrant. Successful. Magnetic. After college, I started an online business. It was small at first, a direct-to-consumer lifestyle brand. I handled everything, the design, the marketing, the data analytics, the customer service. I worked 18-hour days, taught myself code, learned supply chain management from YouTube videos. I loved it. I was building something. Chloe got a job at Titan Corp, a mid-sized marketing firm. She was good at schmoozing, at corporate politics, at making the right people like her. She climbed quickly. Every family dinner became a showcase for Chloe's latest promotion, her latest client win, her latest power lunch with someone important. When I mentioned my business, my mother would pat my hand, this gentle, dismissive pat, and say, "That's nice, dear. Your little online shop. It's so good you have a hobby." A hobby. I'd generated $500,000 in revenue that year. But the worst part? It wasn't just my mother. Chloe actively participated in my diminishment. She'd make little comments, always with a smile, always in front of family. Some people are just better behind a computer screen, you know? Not everyone has the presence for real corporate leadership. Emma's always been more comfortable in her own little world. It's fine that she's not ambitious like me. Somebody has to be the chill twin. And everyone would laugh. Because it was Chloe and Chloe was charming, so it must be a joke. Even when the knife was going in. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. Spring. I remember because the cherry blossoms were blooming outside my mother's dining room window. I'd been invited to family dinner, which was becoming increasingly rare because, honestly, I'd started avoiding them. But this time I had news. Real news. News I was genuinely excited to share. My company had just closed a deal with a major retailer. We were going national. The quarter's revenue was projected at $8 million. $8 million. I drove to my mother's house rehearsing how I'd say it. Casual, not bragging. Just sharing. The way Chloe always did. Dinner started normally. Small talk, wine, my mother's famous lasagna. I waited for the right moment. It came during dessert. There was a lull in conversation. I took a breath. "So, I have some pretty exciting news about the business." "That's nice, dear," my mother said, already turning to Chloe. She literally turned her body away from me. "But first, Chloe, you said you had big news? About Titan?" Chloe's smile was dazzling. She knew exactly what she was doing. Oh, Mom, I was just promoted to Vice President of Client Relations. Youngest VP in the company's history. Six-figure salary, company car, the whole package. The table erupted. My father got champagne from the fridge. My mother actually cried happy tears. My daughter, the vice president. I sat there, dessert fork in hand, my news dying in my throat. But that wasn't the worst part. Chloe looked directly at me. She raised her champagne glass, that perfect smile never wavering, and said, "It's all about leveraging real connections, Mom. Real leadership. Not just hiding behind a computer screen." She paused, letting it sink in. Some people just aren't built for the real world. My mother nodded. "You've always been so savvy, Chloe. So impressive." No one defended me. No one said, "Wait, Emma had news too." No one even looked at me. I finished my wine in silence. I helped clear the table. I drove home with my knuckles white on the steering wheel. And something inside me shifted. I didn't cry that night. I sat at my desk and I looked at my company's financials. I looked at my growth projections. I looked at my list of potential investors. And I made a decision. I wouldn't fight for their approval anymore. I wouldn't beg to be seen. I would become so undeniably successful, so powerful, that their opinions would become background noise. I would use the very thing they mocked, my comfort with being behind a computer screen, and I would build an empire so large they couldn't ignore it. And if the opportunity ever arose, I would show Chloe exactly what quiet competence could accomplish. Over the next 3 years, I became a machine. I reinvested every dollar back into my business. I hired a brilliant team. I used my analytical mind, the one my family found so boring, to scale with precision. Data-driven marketing. Optimized supply chains. Strategic partnerships. My little online shop became a $50 million direct-to-consumer brand. And then I sold it. The acquisition was confidential, structured through my lawyers. The number was 9 figures. I was 32 years old and I was a 100-millionaire. I didn't tell my family. What would be the point? Instead, I became an angel investor. A silent one. I started acquiring stakes in struggling companies, turning them around, making profit. That's when I heard through the family grapevine, the group chat I was still in but rarely participated in, that Titan Corp was having financial trouble. Losing clients. Cash flow problems. The board was looking for an investor to save them from bankruptcy. I smiled for the first time in months. I made a phone call to my financial advisor. Find me everything on Titan Corporation. I want to know their debts, their assets, their board composition, and every skeleton's in their closet. 2 weeks later, I had a full dossier. 2 months later, through a network of shell companies and discrete brokers, I began acquiring Titan Corporation. The board was desperate enough that they didn't ask too many questions about their eccentric angel investor. 6 months later, I owned controlling interest. The board never knew that the woman saving their company was the quiet sister of one of their most problematic mid-level managers. I was about to become Chloe's ghost of Christmas future. The acquisition closed on a Friday. I attended the board meeting via video, face obscured, voice modulated. I was introduced only as the investor. My first order of business was simple. I want a complete internal audit. Financials, HR complaints, employee satisfaction surveys, everything. I want to know why this company is bleeding talent and money. The board was nervous but compliant. They gave me everything. It took 3 weeks for the reports to come back. I read them alone in my home office, a glass of wine in hand. The financial problems were fixable. Mismanagement, poor strategy, nothing terminal. But the HR file on Chloe Martinez, that was a goldmine. 17 formal complaints over 4 years. 17. All from junior staff, mostly women. The pattern was clear and ugly. Chloe would take credit for other people's work. She'd berate employees in front of others. She'd make snide comments about people's appearance, education, background. She created a toxic culture of fear in her entire department. One complaint included email evidence. A junior associate had pitched a brilliant campaign idea in a meeting. Chloe had dismissed it publicly, saying, "That's cute, but let's leave the real strategy to those of us with actual experience." 2 weeks later, Chloe presented the exact same idea to the client. She got a bonus. The junior associate got nothing and eventually quit. But it was another email that made my blood run cold. It was from Chloe to a colleague, making fun of a new hire who'd come from a non-traditional background. The girl had built her own successful blog before joining corporate. Chloe wrote, "Can you believe they hired her? She has no real experience. Just some little internet hobby. Some people just aren't built for real business. They should stay in their lane." The exact words. The exact dismissive tone. I printed that email and put it in a folder on my desk. I scheduled a mandatory all-hands meeting for the following Monday. Video call. Entire company. Attendance required. I also scheduled a private call with the HR director immediately after. I sent her a list of files to review. She called me back within an hour, her voice shaking. "Ma'am, if this is accurate, we have serious liability issues. These complaints should have been acted on years ago." "They should have," I agreed. "We're going to fix that. Starting now." Monday morning. 9 a.m. Pacific Time. 400 employees logged into the company-wide call. I was a black square on the screen. Just a logo for my investment firm. No camera. No name. Yet, the interim CEO opened the meeting. He looked nervous. "Thank you all for joining. I know there's been uncertainty about the company's future. I'm pleased to announce that uncertainty is over. We have new ownership and with it, a new direction." He paused. "I'd like to introduce you to the majority stakeholder and new chair of the board." My camera turned on. I was dressed in a crisp white blazer. Hair and makeup perfect. The corner office behind me making it clear this wasn't my first rodeo. I looked like exactly what I was, a woman who'd built empires. I smiled calmly at the camera. "Good morning. My name is Emma Martinez. Some of you may not know me, but one of you definitely does." I watched the gallery view. Found Chloe's square. Watched her face cycle through confusion, shock, recognition, and then pure, white-faced panic. She tried to turn off her camera. It was locked. I'd made sure of it. I want to start my leadership of Titan Corp by addressing culture. Over the past 3 weeks, I've reviewed every department, every financial statement, and every HR complaint filed in the last 5 years. I let that sink in. What I found was unacceptable. This company has tolerated bullying, credit theft, and toxic management styles for far too long. That ends today. I pulled up a document on screen share. It was an anonymized summary of complaints, no names, just patterns. These are 17 complaints against a single employee. 17 times junior staff members reported abusive behavior. 17 times this person made others feel small to make themselves feel big. This company failed those employees by not acting sooner. Chloe was frozen on screen. She knew. Everyone who worked with her knew. I want to be clear. My priority is building a company culture of respect, collaboration, and actual merit. Not politics. Not who's best at taking credit. Merit. I looked directly at the camera, directly at her square. Which is why, effective immediately, we are parting ways with employees whose behavior has been toxic and destructive. This is not personal. This is business. And it's based entirely on their own documented actions. I paused. "Chloe Martinez, check your email. Your termination paperwork and severance offer are waiting. Consider this your final performance review. Security will assist you with clearing your desk remotely and returning company property." The silence on the call was deafening. 400 people watching the most dramatic firing in corporate history. Chloe's face crumpled. She tried to speak, her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then her square disappeared. She'd been removed from the call. I continued as if nothing had happened. For everyone else, welcome to the new Titan Corporation. If you do good work, support your colleagues, and act with integrity, you have a future here. If you don't, well, you've just seen what happens. I smiled, not cruelly, just confidently. Now, let's get to work. The call ended. I sat in my office, heart pounding, and I waited. It took 12 minutes. My phone rang. Mom on the caller ID. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hello, Mother." The screaming started immediately. How could you? How could you humiliate your sister like that? In front of everyone? You've always been jealous of her success, but this is cruel. I let her finish. I'd been preparing for this my entire life. Mom, I'm going to say this once, so please listen. I didn't take Chloe's success. I fired her for creating a hostile work environment that drove away talent and created legal liability for a company I now own. She did this to herself. She made one little mistake. 17 complaints over 4 years is not one little mistake, I interrupted. It's a pattern. And for the record, since you've spent my entire life comparing us, let me give you some numbers. My net worth is currently $140 million. Chloe's salary was $120,000. I didn't destroy her career out of jealousy, Mom. I don't need to be jealous anymore. The silence on the other end was profound. I have to go, I said. I have a company to run. I hung up, blocked the number, and breathed. The fallout was spectacular and predictable. Chloe tried to spin a narrative on LinkedIn about corporate politics and family betrayal. It fell flat. Too many former employees commented with their own stories of her behavior. My mother told relatives I was cold and vindictive. Some believed her. I didn't care. But something interesting happened too. Within a week, I received emails from 7 of the junior employees who'd filed complaints about Chloe. They were still at Titan and they were thanking me. One woman wrote, "You have no idea what it means to see someone in power actually hold a bully accountable. I was afraid to come to work every day. Thank you for giving me my confidence back." That email is framed in my office. I threw myself into rebuilding Titan Corporation. I promoted based on merit, not politics. I instituted transparent review processes. I built a culture where quiet competence, the kind I'd always embodied, was valued. Within 18 months, we doubled revenue and made best places to work lists. I also started therapy. Real therapy. To unpack a lifetime of being told I wasn't enough. Of being compared. Of being dismissed. It took time, but I learned something crucial. I didn't fire Chloe to prove I was better than her. I fired her because I'd finally learned that I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. The little girl who was always the other one had become the woman who defined her own worth. And that was the real victory. If you take one thing from my story, let it be this. Your worth is not determined by someone else's highlight reel. Not your siblings. Not your parents' favorite. Not your colleague who's better at self-promotion. Being quiet doesn't mean being weak. Being thoughtful doesn't mean being less than. Being behind a computer screen building something real is worth 1,000 corporate power lunches where nothing of substance happens. My revenge wasn't about humiliating Chloe, not really. It was about finally refusing to shrink myself to make others comfortable. It was about looking at the people who dismissed me my entire life and calmly, quietly, showing them exactly how wrong they were. Not by arguing. Not by begging for recognition. But by building something so undeniable they had no choice but to see it. The best part? I don't need my mother's approval anymore. I don't need Chloe's acknowledgement. I don't need family dinners where I'm the footnote. I have a company I'm proud of. A team that respects me. And most importantly, I have myself, and I finally like her. The quiet one learned that silence isn't the same as invisibility. Sometimes it's just the sound of someone building a foundation strong enough to support an empire. So here's my question for you. Have you ever been constantly compared to a sibling or colleague? Made to feel like the other one? How did you find your own worth? What was your moment of realizing you didn't need their validation anymore? Share your story of quiet triumph in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you believe, like I do, that the best revenge is a life lived authentically and successfully on your own terms, hit that subscribe button. Let's build our own definitions of success. Together. Because you are not the other one. You are the only one who gets to decide your worth.